Some of you guys had been asking me to compare the MH25 Pro versus the MH12 Pro in a torture test battle to see which light will really pass these torture tests. So I'm dropping them off a 2-story building, running them over, putting them in freezing temperatures, and even boiled them as well to see if they're really up to the height. So with me is the MH12 Pro and the MH25 Pro, and we're going to try the boiling test. We're going to turn them on, put them into the boiling water, and we'll see if after a few seconds if they still work. All right, here we go. We got the MH12 Pro and the MH25 Pro. Let's turn them on. MH25 Pro going in. There we go. Now we got the MH12 Pro going in. All right, it's been a little bit. As you can see, it's still on. MH25 Pro, still on. Probably not a good idea for me to touch it. It's very hot. Ah, never mind. I am going to let them cool down for a bit and then we'll check them out and see how they are. All right, as you can see, they cooled down a little bit. Still works. The output level indicator is still working. Now the MH25 Pro, let's turn it on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Still turns on. So they easily passed the boiling water test. Next, I'm going to do a 2-meter drop, which replicates the most common scenario. This will tell us how well they are at resisting a 2-meter drop. Here's the MH25 Pro at a 2-meter distance and the MH12 Pro. One more time. All right, let's check it out. As you can see, there is no signs of any damage anywhere. Turn it on and it works just fine. This really tells you the durability of the vessel and how well it's at resisting drops. With the MH12 Pro as well, turns on perfectly fine and no signs of any damage, even though I dropped them both on their bezel. On to the next test. We dropped them 2 meters and we're gonna drop it from 20 feet and up, and I'm gonna drop them straight on their bezels and see if it does anything to the lens or if it does anything to the light. 3, 2, 1. And then this is the MH25 Pro. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's check it out. This is the MH25 Pro. As you can see, the impact it took on was right here along the edge of the bezel. It did do a little indentation, but as you can see, the lens is completely fine. Look around the body, everything else looks perfectly fine. Let's see if it turns on. 3, 2, 1. So unfortunately, the MH25 Pro is not turning on. Let's look at the MH12 Pro. As well, as you can see, it took most of the hit on the bezel right here. You see the indentation, but the lens is completely fine. The body looks fine as well. Let's turn it on. 3, 2, 1. So I came back inside. The battery did die, hence why it wasn't turning on after I dropped it. After switching it to a newly recharged battery, it turns on with no problem. And I'm very impressed on how resilient these lights are, despite the torture I just put them through, literally. Up next, we're going to submerge the MH12 and MH25 Pro in water. And what I'm going to do is turn them on and put them at their lowest setting, like that. And by having them on and submerging them underwater, really tells us their water resistant capabilities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze this for a couple hours and then we'll check back on it to see if the lights are still working and if there's any damage made. And into the freezer it goes. All right, it is now the next day. Let's take it out of the freezer. All right, let's thaw this out. So both of the lights are still on. And as you guys remember, I left them on. Check that out, guys. It's still on, and that's because I left it here overnight. It held up pretty well in freezing temperatures and also in its capability to be submerged underwater for that long, and it still works perfectly fine. So that's a pass for both of these. On to the next one. Next, I am going to test its durability of its body and to see how much weight and pressure both of these can really hold. Starting with the MH12 Pro, we're going to put it right here and run it over. And now the MH25 Pro. Woo, oh my goodness. Let's see what damage it did. This is scratches from the concrete, but overall the body held up pretty well. Let's see if it turns on. Here we go, ready, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. We've put this through the test, and I'm telling you, both of these lights works perfectly fine. Let's see the MH25 Pro. As you can see, it also got some scratches from the pavement / concrete as well. I did run it over pretty badly, over the button specifically. Let's see if it turns on. 3, 2, 1. It does turn on. So you can see, turns on perfectly fine. The body seems intact despite the scratches, you know, a little as well as over here, as you can see on the tail. But overall, I've put both the MH12 Pro and the MH25 Pro through extreme tests. I've dropped them over 2 stories. I ran them over and I put them through freezing temperatures and left them on overnight. And they both held up incredibly well. I'm very impressed. And if that doesn't tell you how resilient these flashlights are and durable, then I don't know what to tell you. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Go ahead and give a like and follow for more videos like this. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.